Have you ever felt a little flutter in your chest after pushing yourself during exercise? Or perhaps a sudden lightheadedness that makes you wonder if you've done more harm than good? It's a quiet worry many of us carry, isn't it? We're told that staying active is key to a long and healthy life. And that's absolutely true. But what if some of the very exercises we think are helping us are actually, slowly, insidiously, putting a strain on the very organ we rely on most? Our hearts are remarkable, resilient, but as we get a little older, they require a different kind of respect and understanding. The truth is, while movement is medicine, not all movements are created equal for our aging bodies. Some can even be silently damaging the delicate, crucial workings of your heart, without you even realizing it until it's too late. Imagine pouring your effort into something you believe is beneficial, only to discover it's subtly undermining your well-being. It's a painful reality, but one we can certainly avoid together. In this video, I'm going to share 5 common exercises that many of us over 60 might be doing, thinking they're good for us, but which can actually be slowly damaging your heart. We'll talk about why they're risky and, most importantly, what you can do instead to keep your heart strong and happy for years to come. So, stick with me, because watching this to the very end might just surprise you with something incredibly important for your longevity. Let's dive right in and start with the first type of exercise that really demands our attention: high-intensity interval training, or what many call HIIT, especially when it's done without proper preparation or medical clearance. Now, I know what you might be thinking. HIIT is all the rage, praised for its efficiency and ability to torch calories. And for younger, well-conditioned individuals, it can be fantastic. But for us over 60, jumping into explosive bursts of activity followed by short recovery periods can put an immense and sudden strain on your cardiovascular system. Think about it one moment. Your heart rate is relatively calm, and the next, you're pushing it to its absolute maximum. This rapid acceleration and deceleration of heart rate, especially if your heart isn't accustomed to such extreme fluctuations, or if you have any underlying, perhaps undiagnosed, heart conditions, can be incredibly dangerous. It's like repeatedly slamming the accelerator and then the brake in a car that hasn't had a proper tune-up in years. The engine might just give out. We're talking about risks like arrhythmias, which are irregular heartbeats, or even myocardial ischemia, where your heart muscle isn't getting enough blood flow. Your arteries, which might already have some plaque buildup from years of living, aren't as pliable as they once were. They can struggle to accommodate the sudden rush of blood required during these intense bursts, leading to spikes in blood pressure that are simply too much for your heart to handle safely. Moreover, these high-intensity movements often involve quick, jerky motions or powerful jumps, which can also raise the risk of injuries to joints and muscles, which then can keep you from being active at all. So, while the idea of a quick, intense workout might sound appealing for its time-saving benefits, the potential cost to your heart might be far too high. Instead of pushing your heart to its absolute limit with sudden, explosive movements, consider a more moderate, sustained approach to cardio. Activities like brisk walking, swimming, cycling at a steady pace, or even dancing can provide excellent cardiovascular benefits without the extreme ups and downs. The goal is to elevate your heart rate to a challenging but sustainable level, where you can still carry on a conversation, albeit a slightly breathless one. Aim for consistency over intensity, gentle progression over sudden leaps. Start slow, listen to your body, and gradually increase your duration and intensity as your fitness improves. Remember, the tortoise often wins the race when it comes to long-term health. Now, closely related to the idea of overexertion, let's talk about the second exercise pitfall: heavy weightlifting, particularly when coupled with something called the Valsalva maneuver, which is holding your breath while straining. This is a common habit, especially when trying to lift something particularly heavy. Whether it's a barbell at the gym or even a stubborn garden pot, you instinctively take a deep breath, hold it, and bear down, trying to stabilize your core and generate more power. While this might help you lift that heavy object, it creates a dangerous situation for your heart when you hold your breath and strain. The pressure inside your chest cavity dramatically increases. This increased pressure momentarily impedes the flow of blood returning to your heart from your body. Your heart then has less blood to pump out, leading to a temporary drop in blood pressure. But here's the dangerous part when you finally exhale and release that strain. All that built-up pressure suddenly drops, and blood rushes back to the heart, causing a rapid and significant spike in blood pressure. For a healthy, young heart, this might not be a huge issue, but for an older heart, one that might already be facing some stiffness in its arteries or have existing high blood pressure, this sudden surge can be incredibly risky. It can trigger anything from dizziness and fainting to more serious events like a stroke or even a heart attack. It puts an immense, unnecessary workload on your heart valves and blood vessels. Think of it like trying to force water through a narrow pipe with too much pressure. Something is bound to give. So, what's the safer approach first and foremost? Breathe. It sounds simple, but it's often overlooked. The general rule of thumb is to exhale during the exertion phase of the lift and inhale during the recovery phase. For example, if you're doing a bicep curl, exhale as you lift the weight and inhale as you lower it. Focus on controlled, steady movements rather than explosive, straining ones, and, critically, consider reducing the amount of weight you're lifting if you find yourself instinctively holding your breath to manage it. It's far better to lift lighter weights with perfect form and controlled breathing than to risk your heart health with excessive loads. Remember, building strength is a marathon, not a sprint. And proper technique protects your most vital organ. Now that we've discussed the risks of high-intensity bursts and improper heavy lifting, let's turn our attention to the next potential heart hazard. Moving on from rapid bursts and breath holding, our third area of concern involves prolonged isometric holds. You know, those exercises where you hold a static position for an extended period, like holding a plank for a minute, or performing a wall sit, or even just really squeezing a muscle hard for a long time without moving it. While these can certainly build strength and endurance, they can also place a unique and potentially dangerous strain on your heart, especially as we age. Here's why: when you engage in an isometric exercise, your muscles contract intensely, but don't change length. This sustained contraction compresses the blood vessels within those muscles, reducing blood flow. To compensate for this reduced flow and to maintain blood pressure, your heart has to work much harder. It pumps more forcefully against increased resistance, leading to a significant and sustained elevation in both your systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Unlike dynamic exercises, where blood flows more freely through working muscles, isometric holds create a constant, elevated pressure on your heart and arterial walls. Imagine holding a garden hose with your foot. The water flow diminishes, and the pressure in the hose before your foot builds up. That's what's happening in your body. This sustained increase in pressure can be particularly problematic for individuals who already have high blood pressure or other underlying cardiovascular conditions, possibly without even knowing it. It can put undue stress on the heart muscle itself and the arterial walls, increasing the risk of cardiac events. It's not about avoiding all planks or wall sits. They can be excellent for core strength and leg endurance. The key is in the duration and intensity. Instead of holding a plank until you shake uncontrollably, try shorter holds with brief rests, or incorporate dynamic movements that work similar muscle groups. For instance, instead of a static wall, sit for 2 minutes. You could do repetitions of mini squats or step-ups. If you do engage in isometric exercises, remember to breathe continuously and smoothly throughout the hold. Don't fall into the trap of holding your breath, as that combines the risks of both isometric holds and the Valsalva maneuver, creating a double whammy for your heart. And critically, always listen to your body. If you feel dizzy, lightheaded, or experience any chest discomfort during an isometric hold, stop immediately. It's your body sending you a clear signal. Now, let's talk about our fourth exercise that can be surprisingly damaging: full burpees and high-impact plyometrics. You might see younger folks bounding through these exercises, and they certainly look impressive. But for someone over 60, they can be exceptionally taxing on the heart and joints. A full burpee, for example, involves dropping to the ground, kicking your feet back, potentially doing a push-up, then jumping your feet forward, and finally exploding into a jump with your hands overhead. This single exercise cycles through multiple rapid changes in body position, from horizontal to vertical, involving intense muscular effort and explosive power. Each transition demands a rapid response from your heart, sending blood rushing to different parts of your body and then back again. This rapid change in posture and intense muscular exertion causes a dramatic and sudden surge in heart rate and blood pressure. Similar to the risks we discussed with height, for a heart that may not be as adaptable or resilient as it once was. These sudden demands can be overwhelming. The impact from jumping can also be incredibly jarring on your joints, your knees, hips, and spine, which are already more susceptible to wear and tear as we age. Injuries from these exercises can sideline you completely, leading to a sedentary lifestyle that is far more detrimental to your heart health in the long run than avoiding burpees ever would be. Similarly, high-impact plyometrics, like box jumps or repeated powerful jumping jacks, involve forceful, explosive movements that generate significant impact. While they build power, they also create immense strain on your cardiovascular system and musculoskeletal structure. Think of your heart as a well-tuned engine. It needs to be able to accelerate and decelerate smoothly. These exercises are like demanding it go from 0 to 60 and back again in a fraction of a second, repeatedly, without ever truly warming up or cooling down properly. So, what's a heart-smart alternative instead of full burpees? Consider modified versions. You can step your feet back and forward instead of jumping, and remove the jump at the end. Perhaps just standing tall with your arms overhead. Or break it down, do push-ups on your knees. Then step-ups onto a low, sturdy box. For plyometrics, replace them with lower impact power movements. Think step-ups onto a low bench, controlled lunges, or brisk walking with arm swings. The goal is to build strength and power through controlled, rhythmic movements that support your heart, rather than shock it. Remember, consistency and safety are always paramount. Finally, let's address the fifth exercise that can slowly damage your heart. Not necessarily in the immediate, dramatic way some of the others might, but through prolonged, unadapted stress, excessive long-distance running or jogging on hard surfaces. Now, let me be clear. Running can be incredibly beneficial for cardiovascular health, and many people run well into their later years. The key here is excessive and unadapted and hard surfaces. If you've been a lifelong runner with no underlying issues and your body is accustomed to it, that's one thing. But for someone over 60 who is either starting to run, increasing their mileage too quickly, or doing so predominantly on unforgiving surfaces like concrete, the risks begin to outweigh the benefits. The repetitive impact of running on hard surfaces takes a significant toll on your joints, your knees, hips, and ankles. This constant pounding can lead to pain, inflammation, and degenerative joint conditions. When you're in pain, you're less likely to be active at all, which is the exact opposite of our goal for heart health. More importantly for our discussion today, prolonged, strenuous running, especially without adequate recovery or proper training, can also lead to chronic inflammation and oxidative stress throughout your body, including your cardiovascular system. While exercise is generally anti-inflammatory, overtraining or pushing beyond your body's capacity can tip the scales the other way. For an older heart, this sustained, elevated heart rate for very long periods, combined with systemic stress, can be counterproductive. It can lead to what's sometimes called cardiac fatigue or even contribute to structural changes in the heart in rare cases, especially if there are undiagnosed underlying issues. Furthermore, the risk of falls increases with fatigue during longer runs, and a fall can lead to injuries that again significantly reduce your overall physical activity. Your heart thrives on consistent, moderate activity. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're challenging it enough to make it stronger, but not so much that you're causing undue stress or injury. So, What's the heart-healthier alternative if you love to run? Consider running on softer surfaces like grass, trails, or a track to reduce impact. Vary your routine with cross-training activities like swimming, cycling, or elliptical training, which offer excellent cardiovascular benefits with much less joint strain. Shorten your runs and incorporate brisk walking intervals. Focus on consistent, comfortable activity rather than pushing for extreme distances or speeds. Remember, the goal is sustainable activity that keeps your heart pumping strong for decades to come. Not to break any speed records or run marathons if your body isn't specifically trained and adapted for it. Next, we'll dive into summarizing these insights and what they mean for your daily routine. So, we've talked about a few exercises that, while popular, might not be serving your heart as well as you think, especially as we journey through our 60s and beyond. We began by looking at high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, and how those sudden bursts of extreme effort can put a sharp, dangerous demand on an older heart, potentially causing risky heart rate fluctuations and blood pressure spikes. Then, we moved on to the subtle but serious danger of heavy weightlifting combined with holding your breath, known as the Valsalva maneuver, where you're essentially creating dangerous pressure surges within your chest that can strain your heart and arteries. Following that, we explored the sneaky risks of prolonged isometric holds, those static positions that seem so simple but can create a sustained high-pressure environment for your heart, making it work harder without adequate blood flow. We then highlighted full burpees and other high-impact plyometrics, explaining how they're explosive. Rapid transitions can overwhelm your cardiovascular system and jar your joints, potentially leading to injury that stops all activity. And finally, we discussed excessive long-distance running, particularly on hard surfaces. Not to dismiss running entirely, but to caution against unadapted, prolonged stress that can lead to joint damage and systemic inflammation for an older body and heart. It's truly not about stopping exercise altogether or becoming afraid of movement. Far from it. It's about being smart, being informed, and adapting your approach to honor the incredible journey your heart has been on. It's about understanding that what might have been perfectly fine in your younger years might need a gentle modification now. Remember, small, consistent changes can make an absolutely profound difference to your health and happiness. Your heart is a muscle, and like any muscle, it thrives on regular, appropriate exercise that challenges it safely, not overwhelms it. Think of gentle, rhythmic movements that elevate your heart rate steadily, like a brisk walk in the park, a leisurely swim, a calm cycle ride, or even dancing to your favorite tunes. These are the gold standards for heart health as we age because they provide sustained, beneficial cardiovascular conditioning without the sudden shocks or excessive strain. Listen to your body. It's constantly sending you signals. If something feels off, if you're suddenly lightheaded, or if you feel chest discomfort, please stop and consult your doctor. They can offer personalized advice that respects your unique health profile. I genuinely hope this conversation has given you some valuable insights and empowered you to make choices that truly protect and strengthen your heart. Your well-being is so important, and taking these steps can add years of vibrant living to your life. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you found certain exercises more challenging as you've gotten older? What gentle, heart-friendly activities do you enjoy most? Please share your experiences and insights in the comments below. Your wisdom can help so many others in our wonderful community. And if you found this video helpful, or if it sparked a new idea for your own fitness journey, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps us reach more people who can benefit from this information. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more practical, encouraging advice on living your best life at every age. Your heart, your health, your future, they're all within your control. Live your best life every single day.